Hey everybody, I just wanted to make a short video on how to calculate power in Minitab and also the alternatives for people that have Minitab Express. So this is the example that we went over in class on the bus brake pads. Uh, and in order to calculate power, you need to know several things. This is for calculating power for the sample, testing the sample mean. So the null hypothesis is that the mean is greater than or equal to 60,000. The alternative is less than 60,000, so that tells us the left tail test. And we want to calculate the power under the alternative hypothesis that the mean is really 58,000. So remember, when you're doing power calculations, you're never putting sample data in there. This is only population values. So the assumed mean under the null hypothesis and the assumed mean under the alternative hypothesis. So first, so we also need to know the sample size. We also need to know alpha of 5%, and we also know that the standard deviation is 5,000. So I'm going to first show how to calculate this in Minitab. So the Minitab power calculator is found under stat power and sample size, and this would be the one sample t-test. Okay, and notice it says specify any two of the following and it'll calculate the third. But we actually have to put a couple extra things in there. So the sample size in this example was 50. The difference is the effect size. So the effect size, again, is the difference between the 60,000 and the 58,000. So that's an effect size of 2,000. And in Minitab, when you're doing a left tail test, you have to enter it as a negative number. So I'll put in negative 2,000. And if it's a right tail test or a two tail test, you can leave it positive. The power we don't know, we'll leave that blank. The standard deviation was 5,000. And you have to go under options and select the direction of the alternative, which is less than. And I got my significance level of 5%. And I click OK. And you get a value. The power will come out right here. Okay, it's coming slowly. There it is. Okay. So there you can see the power is about 87%, which tells you that beta as 1 minus power is going to be about 13%, 0.13. Okay? Okay, the next thing I want to do is show you how you can do the same power calculation using alternatives. So I'm going to go back to the modules page under in our Canvas page, and there's something called probability p-value calculators. All the calculators are including these alternative power calculators. The first one I want to show you is this Java applet, which you get right here. Now it said you actually have to download it unless you have one of the rare computers that runs Java nowadays. And you click download this applet, and you click it right. Click this link, and it'll keep it. It'll show up down on the bottom here. And you just run this program called PyFace. I don't know why it's called PyFace. It's written in the University of Iowa. And then you choose the model you want. So the model we want here is one sample t-test. We run the dialog. This again is for people that don't have Minitab regular. They have Minitab Express. And we just click these boxes to open up all these windows. And then the sigma is 5,000. That is the standard deviation. The effect size, again, is 2,000. Here you can just enter it as a positive number. The sample size is 50. And the power we don't know. And we choose alpha. It's a one-tail test, so we just click the two-tailed link off. And there you can see it calculates the power of 87%. Now, for people that isn't even working, I have a third option. So I'm going to go back to the page here. This is called the Statistics Kingdom power calculator. And we say, okay, we want to calculate power here. And we're going to go down through the list. Same problem. It's a left tail test. Now notice they're asking for the null hypothesis here, which I find really confusing because I would rather see the alternative. So for the left tail test, the HO is actually greater than or equal to. So they're asking for the null here. Not my favorite calculator, but it'll work for everybody, even the people that can't download Java. One sample test, alpha is 5%. we want to change the standardized effect to the unstandardized. And so then we can put in the effect size of 2,000 and the standard deviation of 5,000 and the sample size of 50 and calculate the power. And you can see same answer, 0.87. Okay, so those are three ways to calculate power for the mean. You can also use these calculators to say, what if I want 95% power? How do I change the sample size? Things like that. So let me show you how that's also on the lab today. So let me show you how that works. Let's start with Minitab. So let's say on this example, I wanted 95% power. Okay, so what I do in Minitab is go to Stat, Power, and Sample Size. Again, one sample T. I'm going to go change my power to 95% and blank out sample size. Click OK, and you see you need sample size 70. So that is the way to get the sample size for any given power. You can also do this with the Java program. Same thing. This one's even much simpler. You just put 0.95% in for power, hit OK, and it recalculates 69. The rounding is slightly different. The same idea. And for that third option, let's go to that as well. So if we go to this calculator here, you actually have to run something called, up in the right corner here, the sample size calculator. So I have to click over here and have to re-enter everything. Again, this is probably the least friendly of all of them, but the most available. Again, this is notice they have the alternative here. Distribution is T. The effect size, we want to go again that it's unstandardized. The standard deviation is 5,000. The effect size is 2,000. And we want power of 95%. Okay, and you calculate, you see you get 70. So all three of those calculators do work. Okay, I also want to go over how to calculate the power for the test of proportion. And this is the example we went over in class. Now, we actually went over how to calculate the sample size, but I believe the question in the lab is only on calculating power. So let me go over how you would do that. So I'm just going to add some information to this problem we went over in class on the charity. So we have a test which is a left tail test, excuse me, a right tail test, it even says right tail there, that the proportion is more than 15%. So let's say we wanted to calculate the power when the proportion really is 18%. Okay, so, and let's say we have a sample size of 1652, which is what we have here. And I want to calculate the power when the proportion is really 18%. So that means that the proportion, so in this example, I'm going to assume the proportion under the alternative hypothesis is 0.18 for an effect size of 0.03. Okay, and the sample size is 1652. Okay, so we're going to first show you how to do that in Minitab. So let's do that first. Okay. All right. So to do this in Minitab, sorry. Okay. So it's under Stat, again, power and sample size, but now we're going to select the test for one proportion. Okay, the sample size was 1652 in that example. The comparison proportion was 18%. That's the proportion under the alternative. The power I'm going to leave blank. The hypothesized proportion is 15%. We go under options and select that we want greater than with a significance level of 5%. And when you click OK, it gives you power of 95%, 0.9500. All right. We can also do this calculation in the Java program. So let me pull that up. So here we've got to select a different test. So I'm going to select the test of one proportion. I'll run the dialog on that. Again, we want to get rid of all these boxes. Okay. And the values that go in here for this power calculator is the null hypothesis proportion. Again, we're going to put the 0.15 there. The actual proportion, that's actually the proportion under the alternative. The sample size, again, was 1652. The alternative was greater than, alpha is 5%. We're going to use normal approximation. And we're just going to calculate the power. And there it comes out to, 1652. Let me redo this, 1652. Click OK, and the power comes out to 95%. Okay, so that's how that method works. Okay, and sadly, there is no power calculator for proportion for this statistics kingdom. So you only have two choices on that. All right, so hopefully this video helped.